Hi, I am here with Nolan, and so I'm gonna start the interview process for disabilities. How old were you when you were diagnosed?
Um, I always had hearing loss. I had it my entire life, but I think they found out when I was like 4 or 5.
Uh, and how did they tell you?
Well, I mean, honestly, I was really young, so I don't think they really told me. I just remember being put in a room. They tested me. They put earphones on me. They would ask me to raise my hand when I heard a noise, and then for like lower or higher pitched noises, I wouldn't raise my hand because I didn't hear him. And then they were like, okay, he needs a hearing aid. So I just remember kind of just getting my hearing aid one day. I was too young to really remember them telling me anything specifically.
What is the biggest struggle that you've had?
Um, well, I think it's not really. I don't have too much of a struggle when I'm wearing my hearing aid, but I think the biggest struggle for me is seeing other people who need hearing aids and don't have access to them. Actually, in Ohio specifically, it is not required for insurance companies to cover hearing aids. Hearing aids are covered under cosmetics. So if you needed glasses, your insurance company would pay for your glasses, but not for your hearing aid. So I have seen people who clearly have hearing loss to an extent where I think a hearing aid will at least be helpful, but they cannot, their insurance does not cover that for them. So I don't know if I have too many difficulties with my everyday life, but it really, it makes me kind of sad and mad at the same time to see that
Yeah.
specifically.
What is your coping skills when when you don't have your hearing aid, and how are you able to listen to people and understand what they're saying?
Right, it's just lip reading, to be honest with you. If I know that you're going to say something to me, like if we're in a conversation and I know you're going to say something to me, I can look at your lips, read your lips, and generally I have no issues. Generally, when I'm asking people to repeat themselves, they're either to the side of me, they're behind me, or I did not know they were going to ask me something. So, generally, if I'm looking at somebody and I can read their lips, there's no issue.
What is the one thing that makes you believe in yourself when you're having difficulties hearing?
I think I think that I've done everything everybody else can. I'm in honors classes. I've done some interesting stuff outside of my day to day life. So I just think that I don't think I really let my hearing loss get in the way of my self confidence.
Who is your role model?
Ooh, my role model. Probably my grandparents. They were really awesome people. They have some health problems of their own, not hearing loss, and they suffered through some very very difficult times, and they were very resilient. And um, I try to be that way as well.
That's awesome. What are some programs that you were able to use to help whenever you first were learning about your different ability?
What were some programs? I don't know if I had any programs specifically. I know my parents were very good with just communicating more than you would with, the average child. Every few minutes they would just have a conversation that would go nowhere with me, but they were almost teaching me in a way without me knowing how to read lips. So I don't know if I had any programs, but just honestly practice.
How are people other than your friends or your parents able to help you when difficult times happen?
I think that just, honestly, to help me, it would just be honestly maybe being a little bit louder, looking at me when you talk, if you're talking about, talking to me, because I feel bad when I ask people to repeat themselves a lot, but if you just maybe talk a little bit more clearly, it actually goes a long way.
How much and what type of communication do you find most helpful when you don't have your hearing aid in besides for lip reading?
Again, I really think that you would be surprised just how easy it is for people to be like wandering or looking another direction when talking to somebody. Not even lip reading but when you're just looking at me, even just the sound can get to me a little bit easier. So not even just lip reading, but if you're just looking at me, it goes a lot longer of a way than you'd think.
What would you like to tell others about your different ability?
I would say that honestly, to be completely frank with you, my ability doesn't stop me from doing things in my everyday life. It's an inconvenience a lot, but if you don't let it bother you too much, you can get past it easily. If anyone has a similar situation,
Um, if you could describe yourself in one word, what would it be?
I would say resilient. It's something my grandparents displayed. I don't let this hearing aid stop me from anything. Yeah, resilient is the word I'd go with.
And lastly, what is your favorite thing that your different ability was able to get you to?
Well, I was able to go to Disney in March for a program called Disney Dreamers, and they selected me to go with 100 other students out of 10,000 applicants. So about 1% of the students were chosen to go to Disney for a weekend and do almost a mentoring program, almost a apprenticeship program with different people at Disney, and I think it was a really good way to get the word out about the fact that hearing aids aren't covered by insurance. So I was able to use my disability to get into a program and spread awareness about that subject. So
I completely forgot to ask you, how old are you?
I am 16. I almost said 15, but I'm 16 now.
Well, thank you, Nolan. I'm so grateful for you sitting down with me and being able to talk about this and being able to spread the awareness on the hearing disability.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course.